Another piece of the secret Romney fundraiser tape that you haven't heard. Now, I know you think you've heard all the good stuff, I mean all the crazy stuff, but there's so much crazy in there that no one's been able to play all of it on TV. As I mentioned last night, Mitt Romney proved himself to be the stupidest person in a very stupid room. And it wasn't easy to be the stupidest person in that room because the people we hear on tape questioning Romney were all, let's say, very slow students of American politics. They are all rich. That's how they got in that room. That's how they were there. That's how they're able to attend a high-dollar political fundraiser. They're all people to whom much has been given. Many of them were surely people like Mitt Romney to whom much was given at birth by their rich parents. And they are all people who are bitterly and angrily resentful of any system that requires them to part with anything they've been given, which explains their hatred of taxation. Like Mitt Romney, they lie to themselves and each other about the world they live in. One of the most vile and despicable lies told in that room that night was by the rich Republican buffoon who said this to Mitt Romney.
That Eric Holder was probably the most corrupt attorney general that we've had ever in American history. And I think it's something that if spun the right way in simple terms, can actually resonate with the American people.
That's the kind of campaign advice Romney was getting that night from the rich, imbecilic, lazy-minded, and hateful fat cats in that room. Romney was told to run against Eric Holder because he is the most corrupt attorney general that we've ever had in American history. The man who said that began his comments by saying he thought he might be the oldest Republican there because he said the first campaign he worked in was Barry Goldwater's presidential campaign. Barry Goldwater was the Republican who lost the presidential election in 1964. The next Republican nominee 4 years later was Richard Nixon, who won the presidency. This old and loyal Republican surely helped Nixon's campaign too. And then this loyal Republican must have missed his newspaper delivery the day Richard Nixon's Attorney General John Mitchell was indicted for perjury and obstruction of justice. He must have continued to miss his newspaper delivery during John Mitchell's trial, and he must have missed the delivery when John Mitchell was convicted in federal court and sentenced to prison and then served that prison sentence. John Mitchell was steeped in filthy politics before he became Nixon's Attorney General. John Mitchell was Nixon's campaign manager, and John Mitchell became the first Attorney General in the history of the United States to be convicted of a crime. But he was not the last. The next Attorney General to be convicted of a crime was the very next man Richard Nixon made Attorney General of the United States. So we've had exactly two Attorneys General convicted of crimes, both of them Republicans, both of them appointed by Richard Nixon. The man at the Romney fundraiser who says he worked on Barry Goldwater's campaign may very well have known John Mitchell, may very well have known both of the Republican attorneys general who were convicted of crimes, but he still could say, without any correction from the confederacy of dunces in that room, that Eric Holder is, in his words, the most corrupt attorney general that we've ever had in American history. The most corrupt. So in that room of rich Republicans, the unique characteristic of Eric Holder as Attorney General is that he is the most corrupt of the 82 Attorneys General that we have had in this country. Eric Holder's bio is not unlike some of our most distinguished attorneys general. He attended New York City public schools, graduating from the academically demanding Stuyvesant High School, where he received a Regents Scholarship. He went to Columbia College and Columbia Law School, and then went straight to work in the Department of Justice. In 1988, President Ronald Reagan nominated Eric Holder to become a federal judge in the District of Columbia. That's right, President Reagan. Eric Holder later left that judgeship that Ronald Reagan had given to him in order to serve as the Justice Department's chief prosecutor in Washington, D.C. Nothing terribly unusual in that resume for an Attorney General of the United States. Nothing unique. There is only one unique thing about Eric Holder as an Attorney General of the United States. Eric Holder is the first and only African American Attorney General this country has ever had. That is what is unique about Eric Holder as an Attorney General. He's black. And every person at the Mitt Romney fundraiser knew that, especially the old Republican who knew all about the criminals, the convicted criminals that Richard Nixon had as attorneys general, and still insisted to Mitt Romney and everyone in that room that Eric Holder is the most corrupt attorney general that we've had in American history. How did Eric Holder get that label in that room with those rich Republicans? Did Eric Holder get that label by being attorney general while black? You don't want to think that. You want to think better of the people in that room. But there was nothing said in that room, not one word spoken in that room by anyone in that room that indicates in any way that those people are better than that. What I clearly heard from one of the people in that room is sheer hatred of Eric Holder. It was a room filled with contempt for 47% of the American people. That's over 150 million people. In that room, hating one more person wasn't hard. In that room, all the rich Republicans and the richest major party presidential candidate in history were not made even slightly uncomfortable by lies and hatred spewed at the first black Attorney General of the United States by the party that has given us the most corrupt attorneys general in history.